Centre the front clamp, lining it up with the V sections on both sides and centre it sideways. Crimp the tail of the plate in the channel provided above the delivery. This makes for easy insertion of the plate tail into the clamping bar on the cylinder. Insert plate squarely into the gripper clamp, ensuring that, sideways, its edge is lined up to the edge of the cylinder gutter. Tighten the clamping bolts. Inch the machine around, and because it's under impression, the plate will be drawn around the cylinder squarely. Insert the tail of the plate into its clamp and tighten clamping bolts. Draw the plate up snugly against the cylinder using the knurled tightening bolts shown here. Flick the impression on switch to off, move the main lever control to off, and roll the press until you hear the click as impression disengages. Our press is now set up for the traditional make ready. Let's prepare to take our first print. Now we turn to make ready on the printing unit, the heart of the press. This is where it all comes together or falls apart. Let's start looking at the printing principles involved. The surface of the printing cylinders must roll in unison, otherwise plate wear and print slur will be evident. Printers use the term true rolling to describe this state. If you have packed the 3 cylinders as described previously and minimum impression cylinder pressure is applied, then true rolling is assured. As we begin our make ready, we're intending to achieve 3 things at once. Position of the print, balance between ink and water, and evenness of ink film. Let's begin. First, place the ink in the duct. Start the press and wind ink duct sweep up to 25 on this scale. If you want a quick response, the ink duct roller needs plenty of rotation. Remember, a well-set duct takes unwanted ink off the roller as well as putting fresh ink on where needed. You need both capacities if you want to avoid having unused ink becoming saturated with moisture. Here we see water that has been carried from the rollers back into the duct where it can be removed. Proceed then to set the ink duct by observing the inking needs of the plate image as it moves around. When you think you have a reasonably accurate setting, turn the ink feed on and fine-tune it further. If not sure, err on the side of not enough ink rather than too much. Remember that what you are doing is creating the required ink replacement setting once the press is up and running. The correct amount of ink can be determined by listening for a slight hiss caused by ink tap. Now stop the press and dab some ink on the ends of the rollers. We do this for 2 reasons. To stop ink from the middle thinning out to the ink-starved ends and to help prevent moisture penetrating the inking system. Let's take our first print. Set damper sweep to 10 or 12. Check duct sweep is on 25. In the feeder pile, build up a multi-layer sandwich of 20 or so waste sheets, followed by 2 or 3 good sheets. Continue this pattern a few times. We need the waste sheets the same size as the job to be run, so that position, ink moisture balance and ink film evenness can build up while these sheets are running through the press. This, of course, reduces spoilage. Make sure the waste sheets are not greatly soiled or stuck together. Now let's engage automatic pile height. Move the control lever to damp. Check for an even sheen of moisture. If OK, lower the inkles. Inspect the plate for catch-up. Catch-up is simply ink forming in the non-image area of the plate. If catch-up is present, simply add water in that area to remove it. Don't alter water feed setting. You've only got a temporary dry spot in the dampers, and all you need to do is restore moisture balance in that area alone. The catch-up should then clear itself from the plate. Once all catch-up is removed, move the control lever to paper, then to impression. Run at least 20 waste sheets, then 2 or 3 clean sheets, and stop paper feed by pressing the square red button at the feeder. Inspect the print for evenness of ink film. Measure the position of the first print to determine the amount of error. If the circumferential position is out, adjust here. Sideways adjustment can be done at the side lay. Remember, if you move the side lay, you must move the pile to maintain the correct clearance of side lay to the sheet. Should the print be out of square by 0.25 of a millimetre or less, then simply adjust the front lays. However, if the print exceeds that amount of error, then squaring up will have to be done by moving the plate. To do this, it's important to understand that the plate must pivot around the corner, not requiring movement like this. You can see the tail clamp is going to move sideways if this arc of movement is to be achieved. It's that sideways movement of the tail clamp that will swing the plate. For this to occur, plate tension must be slackened. So the routine is, firstly, detension the plate. Secondly, move the tail clamp, watching for the arc movement at the front clamp and the tail clamp. Thirdly, retension the plate, beginning at the adjustment closest to the movement required.